Okay, nice to you.
You did actually, but with you, I'm like, are you serious?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking time to be out. Today, what we're talking about is really important. From my seat, government, the highest calling of government is keeping us safe. And so our announcement today, this is the 19th time in 88 years, doesn't happen very often, that we announce the position of Colonel, the new leader of the Nebraska State Patrol. I think it's really important that we do a little bit of bragging here for a minute about the Nebraska State Patrol and what all of our 500 plus troopers do. They've been so critical, keeping our roadways safe, all the things that take place in bad weather, blizzards and tornadoes to keep us safe, special enforcement events, drug trafficking, you name it. Also want to give an incredible shout out to the State Patrol in the past 2 years where we sent troopers down to the southern border to help secure our border. And believe it or not, our Nebraska State Patrol has one of the most pristine, the highest ranked drone activities. They were able to, 2 summers ago, get pictures that nobody had to be able to understand some things that were taking place. There's activity after activity after activity that us in the work every day kind of take for granted, from finding vehicles to stolen to people doing egregious activity. It's really critical, and they just do it no matter what. And then remember, all of our troopers risk their lives every single day to keep us safe. It takes extraordinary leadership to keep the men and women in blue to be effective and to be able to answer the call. I am really excited about it. I want to certainly say I'll be introducing Colonel Bolduc in a couple minutes, but want to take a minute to thank Colonel Bolduc for all of his years of service, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Want to spend a minute on Brian Waugh. Brian will be the 19th superintendent in the history of our state. He will start June 2nd. So he's got a couple days yet to get ready. Brian brings an extraordinary career of service, 30 years of law enforcement, marked by innovation, collaboration, and an extraordinary public servant's heart. As Kearney's chief of police for 6 years, he has led a growing department, achieving accreditation and launched programs like the Mental Health Co-Responder Initiative and a citywide license plate reader system that sparked a statewide effort. His leadership during the 19 flood, that might for some of us seem like a lifetime ago, but for a lot of us it was just yesterday. It took extraordinary leadership across the state, and Brian was a key part of that. Prior to joining Kearney, Brian served 14 years in the La Vista Police Department, including 4 years as captain, where he oversaw critical operations like SWAT team and the K-9 unit and school resource officers. Experienced at almost every step. He's established protocols for officer-involved shootings and unified command with neighboring agencies, showcasing his strategic vision as well. His 8 years with one of the great things that we brag about in Nebraska with U.S. Air Force's 55th Security Police at Offutt Air Force Base, including 2 overseas tours. Thank you for your extraordinary service there, which instilled a heck of a lot of discipline and commitment to service that continues to this day. Brian's clearly reflects his readiness to lead. We're really, really excited to welcome. And before we go there, I want to introduce Joe Kelly, our Lieutenant Governor. Joe and I have been buddies since way longer than we want to admit. And one of the extraordinary things all of Joe and I's friends always admire and have marveled at what an extraordinary public servant Joe Kelly has been. Again, keeping people safe, putting a lot of bad dudes where they need to be to pay the price before redemption. Joe's been a longtime criminal prosecutor here in Lancaster County, and has also was appointed by President Trump as U.S. Attorney for Nebraska. Joe, thanks for all you do. Thanks for all your support.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to be here for this big moment for the State Patrol in the state of Nebraska. I'd say 2 things, and I don't want to steal from Senator Klaus, but I'll tell you this. I don't know of any community that is better served than Sheriff Miller on the county side and Brian Waugh on the city side in Buffalo County and in Kearney. It's been a great relationship there, and they are 2 of the best in the state. At the same time, they play together very well, and I've always enjoyed watching that from that perspective. The second thing I wanted to mention real quickly is, of the applicants we talked to, any one of them could have been a colonel, and a very good colonel of the Nebraska State Patrol. It's encouraging to know that we have so many good law enforcement people in Nebraska who could fulfill a role just like that. And finally, I want to speak to Brian in particular. What I like about many of his pieces of his chronology are the way that he's interacted with the feds, with the state, with the local government, and so easily transitioned that. You know, when you're in La Vista and you're in that area, there's a heavier federal presence. There's also still that Air Force presence from the base itself. And so I think you have to learn how to play across the field with everybody in law enforcement, no less in Buffalo County. And certainly in Buffalo County, you've got your sheriff, your city, and your cities to work with, but you've also got the State Patrol there. So Brian is posed, I think, to make us a great Nebraska State Patrol colonel who can reach across all of these law enforcement lines, bring everybody together, whether it's working on drugs or human trafficking or whatever the crime of the day is. This is the guy who's ready to do it. So I'm glad to be a little part of this ceremony today and welcoming Colonel Waugh.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for all your work and as we work through this process. Next, I'd like to introduce Colonel Bolduc. As you look at Colonel Bolduc, he's just hours away from retirement. He just can't get that smile off of his face, and it is an extraordinary, joyous occasion. The Colonel's been an extraordinary long-time public servant. He's been 8 years as our Nebraska State Patrol Superintendent, leading over 700 people. There's no question under his leadership, Nebraska is safer and stronger. There's been a 36% increase in trooper applications this year. That's a big deal. Next training academy starts in July. Colonel, congratulations. What I've enjoyed in our 2.5 years together is you've had an extraordinary, I call it day one seat in the chair exuberance for your public service. And you've been a great role model. I'm very grateful. Congratulations.
Thank you, Governor. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Governor. I just want to thank the state of Nebraska and Governor Pillen for the trust that they've placed in me and our team at the Nebraska State Patrol. It's been a privilege to serve. These last 7.5 years have been the culmination of a 38-year career for me personally, but they've also been a rich period of advancement for the Nebraska State Patrol. I'm incredibly proud of the work that this team has done, from the troopers patrolling the road and helping the public in countless circumstances, to our investigators solving crimes and bringing closure to victims, to our professional staff working behind the scenes to serve the public, whether it's fingerprinting, background checks, evidence testing, and so much more. Our team has made significant technological advancements in the last several years. We've consolidated our Lincoln-based headquarters, and we've broken ground on a much-needed crime lab expansion. NSP is not only a law enforcement leader in Nebraska, but is also recognized as a leader nationally as well. Every year, our teammates provide expert-level training for personnel from dozens of police agencies across the country. Nebraskans can be proud of this fact. Every day with the Nebraska State Patrol is an opportunity to serve others, and our team thoroughly embraces that mindset. Service comes in the form of arresting bad actors to keep our community safe. For the last several years, the number of felony arrests have increased every year, arrests made by our troopers and investigators. In fact, in 2024, we made the most felony arrests in one year in the history of the Nebraska State Patrol. This is keeping our communities safe. Service comes in the form of helping those in need, even to the point of rescuing those in need. Those cases are far too many to count, but that work comes from the compassion demonstrated in every encounter with someone who needs help. And service comes in the form of working together for a shared purpose. The teamwork shared within the Nebraska State Patrol is exceptional. I'm proud that I have been part of this team, and Nebraskans can be proud of the State Patrol, and they can be assured that under Chief Waugh's leadership, this excellence will continue. Brian, congratulations.
Thank you, Colonel. Hold off from practicing that cast yet, all right, for a couple more minutes. Next, I'd like to introduce Senator Klaus, District 37. Senator Klaus just finished up 18 years as mayor of Kearney and had the distinction of hiring Brian 6-7 years ago, so in 2019. And so, Senator Klaus, thanks for being here.
Well, good afternoon, and this feels like a proud dad moment to me. Brian, he refers to me as mayor, and I refer to him as chief, so I don't know if we'll ever get over that, but that's okay. The things that Brian brought to our city is just incredible, and the thing that sticks out to me the most, aside from the police night out and all those things we do in the community, handing out cards to the kids and being involved in the schools, is the professionalism. And I can tell with the officers that he's hired and just the culture that he changed. It was truly amazing. And I take a lot of pride in the fact that your officers that come up and say, "Hello, sir, how you doing?" Just very professional. And to me, that says a lot about the leadership of Brian. We're going to miss him in Kearney, but again, we have a lot of good people that it's part of the process. You train them up, you give them the opportunities, and I think the state's going to be very pleased with the leadership role that Brian's taking on here. And I know that in Kearney, I don't know if you're still going to live there or not. We'll see. But wherever he's at, the state, we're going to be very proud of him. And his experience in Kearney, I would hope what Heath said was a good experience for him, because certainly it was a good experience for us. And his leadership is unparalleled. And Brian, congratulations and thank you. And I've actually seen him down more here than I did in the City Hall, because Senator Boslin always has him in front of judiciary, because that wealth of knowledge and the experience and the things that he brings, he understands policing and he knows it, and how all the departments have to work together, whatever it takes in the state. So, Brian, thank you and best wishes, buddy. Thank you, sir.
Senator Klaus, you just will not be able to stop selling Kearney the rest of your life, will you? That's pretty good. Hey, I would like to thank Senator Boslin, who chairs Judiciary Committee, for being here today. Really appreciate it. And Attorney General Hildreth, thank you for taking time to come. And also Lieutenant Colonel Roby, thank you for being here. So I think that maybe next it's time everybody came here to listen to is introduce Brian. Brian, I just can't say enough for you answering the call, and congratulations on becoming the next superintendent of Nebraska State Patrol. Congratulations.
I kind of, I put glasses on, and Lieutenant Colonel Bolduc's retiring today, and he's not wearing glasses. I'm kind of wondering here. Good. Okay, contacts. Well, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I want to first start by expressing my heartfelt appreciation and thanks to Governor Pillen, Lieutenant Governor Kelly, Chief of Staff Lopez, the leaders of the advisory committee, and Colonel Bolduc. I also want to thank Attorney General Hildreth for being here, Senator Bowson, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Roby for taking the time to be here today on this special day. I am incredibly humbled, proud, and honored by the faith and confidence placed in me to become the 19th Colonel of the Nebraska State Patrol. I also want to recognize Senator Klaus for being here. Thank you so much for being here. You obviously, we were just told you were the mayor in Kearney and appointed me Chief of Police in 2019, and that was a wonderful opportunity. Most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Julie, her mother and father, my mother and father-in-law for being here, family and friends, colleagues and mentors who helped me, which ultimately led to this moment. I'm honored, committed, and prepared for this opportunity. The Nebraska State Patrol is a storied organization with professional men and women who are first class, dedicated, committed, and driven to provide the highest level of public safety and professional services for the entire state of Nebraska. I look forward to serving with every member of the NSP team and the State Troopers Association of Nebraska as well, and I thank those folks for being here today. Together, we will ensure our staff continue to receive the training, the equipment, and most importantly, the support that you need to do a dangerous job safely. Aligned with our community, our state, local, and federal leaders, and exceptional allied law enforcement partners, and most importantly, our Nebraska State Patrol team, I am eager, motivated, and committed to leading our premier law enforcement organization into the future. With integrity, a shared purpose, shared goals, a clear vision to strengthen our ranks with innovative 21st century recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining programs, while leveraging technology, broadening efficiencies, building on our successes, and embracing our challenges, I look forward to getting to work in a few short weeks. In closing, my goals as the Colonel of the Nebraska State Patrol are simple. We will honor the past, we will live the present, and we will reimagine our future together. I will lead with humility, authenticity, compassion, and confidence. I will listen, observe, and communicate with a genuine interest and set realistic goals with public safety as our top priority. I will work daily to maintain, build, strengthen, and cultivate lasting professional relationships with our staff, communities, businesses, colleagues, allied partners across the entire state. We will work together to keep our state safe, recognize the selfless professional service of our troopers and our talented non-sworn professional staff each and every day. I am truly honored and excited about the future of the Nebraska State Patrol. I want to congratulate and thank Colonel Bolduc for your leadership and your friendship and mentorship along the way and your service to this state. And I wish you and your family continued success and safety in retirement. Once again, thank you so much, Governor Pillen, for your confidence. I genuinely appreciate your support, and I look forward to becoming the next Colonel of the Nebraska State Patrol.
Thank you and congratulations, Brian. I think the other piece we want to make sure, we've got a few days between May 4th and June 2nd, and I want to thank Lieutenant Colonel Roby will be the interim superintendent of the State Patrol during that time frame. He's been the assistant superintendent since December, and I'm really grateful for Lieutenant Colonel Roby saying yes, and he's been a warrior for the Nebraska State Patrol and will continue to be as such. Also, want to take a minute to just simply say thank you to the men and women of the Nebraska State Patrol. You are the standard of safety. You are the standard of enforcement, and we are the safest place in the world to live because of the men and women in blue. So I'm really, really confident in the future of the State Patrol with Brian's leadership, and Brian, look forward to working with you. Be happy to take any questions from the media. Thank you for being here and covering this historic day. Andrew.
How many applicants did you guys get, and how many folks did you interview?
We interviewed 4 people.
Were they all from in the state, or?
Yes. Andrew?
How important was it to hire somebody within the state?
From my seat, whenever we are hiring key leadership, we want the best person in the world. So if it's a Nebraskan, that's fantastic. But we're always wanting to make sure that we have the best possible person. Just happened to be that person was heading up the Kearney Police today. We had great candidates. We had fantastic candidates, and as Lieutenant Governor Kelly said, anyone could have been a very effective colonel, but when you work together, and we went through a process where we had an advisory board that first started through, and it was a very crystal clear process. Yes.
I guess a question for Colonel Walsh. What do you think the biggest challenge facing the State Patrol is right now, and how you plan to address it as Colonel?
That's a great question. The question was, what is the biggest challenge facing the State Patrol today, and how would I address that as the colonel? I believe the challenge we face as the State Patrol is no different than policing across the entire country today. We are facing a crisis when it comes to recruiting, hiring, and retaining the best and the brightest to serve their communities in policing. And the goal will be to reimagine and to perhaps look for creative, innovative ways. And I will tell you, the Nebraska State Patrol is currently hiring. And if you see there's a shameless plug, but I think that's what we have to do. And the staff at the Nebraska State Patrol today are the premier, I believe, the premier recruiting department in Nebraska. You can't go on Facebook, you can't go on X, you can't go on Instagram, you can't go on their website, Join Nebraska or NebraskaTroopers.com, and learn what a great career path this profession is, and it's a noble profession. So I believe today the biggest challenge I will face will be to bring our ranks up to where we need to be, to our authorized strength. Then we can commit and focus on all of the other great work that we're doing to protect Nebraskans and work with our partners across the entire state.
I guess the State Patrol has faced lawsuits in recent years about retaliation. I guess, are you aware of that? And is that something that weighs on you as you step into this job?
That's a great question. Question was about lawsuits that the State Patrol has faced over the years based on retaliation or other circumstances. I am aware of that, and I'm not detailed aware of that because that is obviously personnel matters that is maintained within the Nebraska State Patrol. My goal will be to learn more about those cases, learn more about what we can do differently as an organization, establishing a culture of excellence, establishing a culture of communication, establishing a culture of inclusion to make sure that we're doing things for the best interest of the organization professionally and with integrity and with transparency and trust. So while I am aware of those cases, I don't have the detailed knowledge of them, and I shouldn't have the detailed knowledge of them until I'm in the seat. But I look forward to learning more about it and making sure that if there are areas for us to improve, we will do that, and we will do that collectively as a team with our command staff and with the State Troopers Association as well to make sure that moving forward, as Colonel Bolduc mentioned, we are an internationally accredited law enforcement agency, which is a really big deal. And that means we have policies and procedures in place that are in line with best practices in law enforcement, that are in line with legal basis in state statute as well as federal law. So my goal will be to learn more about those cases and ensure that we do everything we can to not repeat that type of behavior.
Are there any new things that maybe you want to bring to the State Patrol that aren't there now that you can think of from your time in your career?
That's a great question. New things that we can bring to the State Patrol, not only from my career, but also just, I really take pride in being a lifelong learner and being a student of the profession of policing. And, you know, today's profession of policing is so unique. And just in the past decade, technology is something that drives what we do. And it drives a lot of things when it comes to public safety, when it comes to solving crime, preventing crime, and working with our community. So Governor Pillen mentioned the automated license plate reader program that we were able to introduce in Kearney, and that is now also being used within the Nebraska State Patrol. And I think we continue to leverage that, and we leverage that through partnerships with our local communities, with our sheriff's offices, with our federal partners, and have that network across our entire state where we're having a force multiplier through technology that will make this state a much safer place for everybody who lives, works, goes to school, travels, visits our state. So I think technology will be one that we will definitely take a look at. You know, there was a time where cell phones weren't something that we paid much attention to when it comes to solving crime. Today, and I know this for a fact, and I would also refer to Colonel Bolduc's leadership with this, the Nebraska State Patrol Crime Lab, Forensic Lab, are first class, capable, and those electronic devices will definitely come into play on any kind of investigation that we have. So I believe technology use will be a top priority as well as we move forward.
Okay, well, thank you for everybody coming here. Again, a historic day for the Nebraska State Patrol, historic day for the safety of the state of Nebraska and the people of Nebraska. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Julie and Brian, congratulations.
Thanks, Governor.
Thank you.